Hello everyone, it's Omae and welcome back to the brand new video. Today I'm going to show you guys teams using only the rare recruits. Unfortunately, it's not possible to have all 4 of the new rare recruits on the same team without any of the new legends of your own. So we are using Kobe, Akainu, and Kuzan here. As for supports, the only ones that are necessary, I would say, are on this team. Everyone is kind of necessary. On this team, you don't need the Giola or the Mihawk. It can be any like strength or dex character, just so we get the territory effect from those character specials. When it comes to the dragon support, if you don't have that, you can just use a attack down reducing ship like this one here, or the regular Sunigo ship. I didn't even have this one max, but yeah. You could also use another support for attack down reduction, but if you need that, ask me down in the comments. Make sure your Kobe is limit broken, because he does get access to the Sailor ability of 1 turn of attack down reduction. That goes well with his 6 turns going up to 7. On the Intrusion we get 10 turns on stage 2, so that's 7 from Kobe, 1 from the Dragon support, and then 2 from Saint Saturn support. If you don't have Saint Saturn, once again the ship could work, but then you also need another form of attack down reduction support. By the way, that Usopp on Dory and Broggy is very important. We need to delay the enemy somehow, and luckily that Usopp attaches to Broggy units, right? But when it comes to the attack down, you can also use this Garp for a turn when you use Kuzan special, and then also the Kuroma on Akainu. So these are the options if you don't have these supports, but 100% you need Usopp. There's only 4 supports in the game that delay the enemy, and also all the units that are on the boosted list that delay enemies like in their own special are pretty buns. Like they're not really good in any other way, right? So that's why it's best to use him as a support. Broggy is a great lead for the team, and he also is going to provide a turn of cooldown in his special, which is really important for the 4 turns of special rewind we get on the final stage. So let's get straight into the Intrusion, then the final boss. If you need any replacements, ask me down below. If you don't have Broggy, you won't be able to run 3 rare recruits, though it is very possible with 2 rare recruits. So if you're willing to compromise a bit of point boost, ask me down below. I will find a replacement for you. The problem is that the combination of Broggy and the Usopp support is so important for getting around the rewind and the delay simultaneously, and no one else is doing that. So very important pair there. I know some people would have gotten him from the Voyage log tickets, but also I know he's a character that most people will not have. So I know there will be people asking for replacements, but yeah, as I said, you need to run only 2 rare recruits then. Unfortunately, the Sabo is pretty useless, and Kuzan isn't doing much either. So for this one here, we are of course running Emu. Both of them we're running Emu as a friend captain, just easily the best friend unit for the Intrusion, because on the final stage there's a damage limiter as well as an orb based damage reduction. Now the only real ways to get around that orb damage reduction is to have either recovery orbs or similar orbs. If you are really like stacked in your shipyard, you could use the Baratier ship and then generate tandem orbs. Those will be converted into similar, which will not be affected by the orb damage reduction on the final stage. However, it's way easier to just stall 1 turn. You have to delay the enemy though. If you don't delay the enemy and you pass the turn, you will get all of your beneficial effects removed and your accumulated values, and they'll bind your ship by 10 turns, which is very bad for your damage, right? So stage 2, the captains get rewinded by 3 turns, goes down to 2 after the preemptive. 10 turns of attack down, enemy has damage nullification. Since we have 2 celestial dragons on the team, the final stage will charge our captain's specials again, so we can use the Emu here without any problem, removing the damage nullification. Then we can use Kobe for that final 7 turns, or 6 turns should I say, and then the support will remove the final turn. Besides that, we can use one of our Akainu and Kuzan units here. It doesn't really matter which one. Yeah, the rare recruits are really not doing anything on this team. Like, Besides Kobe, everyone is useless, which is why it's so hard to build around these, because Kobe is really the only helpful rare recruit on this fight here. Even Sabo's useless. When it comes to the final boss, Akainu is very important. Kuzan is kind of replaceable, but he does a lot regardless. Sabo's useless across both bosses, so that's a bit annoying, right? So we have matching orbs here. The enemy gives our top row strength orbs, bottom row dex, and middle row quick. So I highly recommend putting your Kuzan at least in the middle row. Otherwise, he'll better have a badly matching orb, and he's kind of our main damage dealer here. The enemy is quick, so it's very difficult because we have type disadvantage for our Celestial Dragon units, right? So yeah, I mean, Emu still does a lot, and then of course, Kuzan will do a massive amount of damage. Basically double what Emu is dealing. Final stage, paralysis and special rewind to our top row. Oh wait, no, just the paralysis. The rewind is 4 turns to our sailors only. So the 2-turn damage limiter and all base damage reduction, we're just going to use Proggy, which procs Usopp support, delays them, but Proggy special, as I said, is very important for giving us that 1 turn of cooldown, because now we pass the turn. The enemy defensive effects will still be there, but now we use Emu for that final 2 turns of cooldown for our sailors to be ready once again. Chain boundary, remove the enemy beneficial effects. Kuzan for an attack boost, kind of unnecessary, and then just more damage from what's his face, Nustro, Big Nusi. He's providing a full board of matching orbs, guaranteed, and then the special gives us color affinity and advantageous class, which is very important because the enemy is weak to powerhouse. While the advantageous class effect doesn't actually work here, it's only for slashes and cerebrals. So even though Emu is powerhouse, he is not either slasher or cerebral, so he doesn't get the benefit of advantageous class. If you don't know how it works, a character needs to just have one of the advantageous class effect buff classes, and then of course they need to have a class that the enemy is weak to. In that case, you'll get double damage, or essentially quadruple damage. It's very good, but either way, the team is very safe. As you can see, you just start the chain and the enemy goes bye-bye. Very, very easy. So that's very good. Of course, we have those supports on the Mihawk and the Giola, which allows us to get the territory from those rare recruits, which is actually really helpful for damage because the enemy does apply their own territory, and by applying our own one, we not only get more damage, but we also make the enemy's territory go away, which reduces the amount of damage reduction they have, of course. So that's it for the intrusion. Now let's take a look at the final boss. So once again, on the final boss, we are using versus Nostro. I mean, this character is just really good because even though on the final stage, the enemy despairs us before giving us the special bind, which means captain abilities that reduce special bind will not work. But on stage 2, we also get special binds. So Nostro is great for stage 2. And then on the final stage, his special will also remove all that despair. And also provide massive damage. He synergizes amazingly with Emu. So yeah, there's a lot of things going here for what's his face, Nostro. And also we have the war carry support, which is quite important for the bind reduction. Though to be honest, if you don't have that, you could use like the coated sunny ship for 2 turns of bind reduction. I'm pretty sure there's also other support abilities. So if you don't have war carry, ask me down below. I'll find the most sophisticated solution, right? Makino for a turn of defense up. Once again, I can probably find another solution, but you should have gotten her. She was available on the 12th anniversary Sugufest as a treasure map unit. We have Whitey Bay, which is really good. Even though Akainu only reduces bind in his special, it does still proc the Whitey Bay, and then she also removes 2 turns of despair while she's at it, which is really nice. We get a total of 13 turns of bind and despair. We save Emu for the final stage to get around the 10 turns of special bind that Nostro doesn't remove himself. And then there's a massive chain minimum attack down of 4x minimum on stage 2, so they really want you to use Emu there. But as I said, we need Emu on the final stage for that 10 turns of special bind. So stage 2, we use Vegapunk, my goats. You can use the unevolved version, it's the exact same. The whole point is that they're providing a chain boundary and a chain additive buff, which allows us to get around the whatchamacallit, the chain minimum attack down, and use that twice on stage 2, and then on the final stage we'll save the final activation to reduce the final bit of despair, because Nustro does remove like 7 turns of the despair, but remember there's 13 turns of it. It goes into 10 with sockets, down to 3 with Nustro, and then we need another 2 turns from the YT Bay, and then there's 1 final turn remaining which Vegapunk does remove, so keep that in mind, it's very important. Besides that, I think Fujitora is also quite important here. On the second stage, this is where Kuzan is actually quite good, because the enemy has a 1-turn defense up, damage reduction, and threshold. Of course, you're supposed to use Emu there to remove all those by 1 turn, completely negating it. Beyond other things, but yeah, as I said, we can't use Emu on stage 2. We're getting around the chain minimum another way. So when it comes to those defensive effects, Makino gets around the defense up. The Sailor ability of Kuzan removes the threshold thanks to us having 5 egghead units on the team. And then the support of Isho allows us to remove the damage reduction when we hit a perfect on Kuzan. So essentially we hit 1 perfect, the chain minimum attack down is gone, the damage reduction is gone, and we can very easily win, right? And also thanks to the Nustro versus effect, it's just so easy for us to get matching orbs. But I'm pretty sure the enemy does give us matching orbs on the final stage, or stage 2 here. Very, very nice. So what we want to do here, you can see that the threshold disappeared. That was thanks to Kuzan Sailor. At this point, we want to use Vegapunk twice, chain boundary, and then chain additive. Now, if you don't have Vegapunk in his Super Evolved form, the only change is that your chain buffs will be a bit weaker, so you'll just have to hit like 1 extra perfect before the chain minimum is bypassed, right? That's about it. Then we use Kobe to proc the Makino support, also gives the enemy weakness, and puts a territory on the field. Besides that, we can also use Kuzan. Don't use Akainu, remember he's very important for the bind removal on the final stage. So now we have a driven and cerebral territory, so that's pretty good. Let me just do a tally here. So Vegapunk is free spirit, Kuzan's free spirit, and I think Kobe's also free spirit, and almost everyone here is cerebral besides I think Emu. So, and also Kuzan, Akainu, bro, I'm actually tweaking. So this is pretty good here. We have a full board of matching orbs guaranteed from the preempt of the enemy, an attack boost from Kuzan, chain boundary, and chain additive from Vegapunks. Now all we need to do is just hit a perfect on Kuzan, and I think just very, very easy. So we have to hit 2 perfects, or you can hit 1 perfect and 1 great strike, and then that'll get past the chain minimum of 4x. So 13 turns of despair and bind, going down to 10 with sockets, 7 turns of bind thanks to war carry. Emu removes the special bind and gives us massive chain boundary of 4x minimum. Then we use Vegapunk. Wow, that's a very good animation. I need to actually just look at that. That's like beautiful, bruh, for a rare recruit. By the way, or free-to-play unit, should I say. By the way, he has voice lines, like a free-to-play unit with voice lines. Isn't that crazy? They definitely went all out. Then we go, Whitey Bay, the goat. 6 turns of despair remaining. Nustro removes it. Also gives us a chain, a advantageous class effect buff, as well as the color affinity. Nustro provides the EX Super, the versus effect for matching orbs guaranteed. And it is an instant kill. Very, very nice. So thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions about the teams, ask them down below. Make sure to like and subscribe for more content like this in the future. Ask me if you want to see any more pairs in the comments. Like for instance, you want to see me use the new Blackbeard with the new rare recruits, the new well, actually I don't have anyone else, so I really can't help you with that besides Blackbeard. I can run Blackbeard by himself, I can run Blackbeard with the rare recruits, but unfortunately on the alt account where I have all of the 12th anniversary batch, it's on the East Blue League, so it's not really a good showcase of how the team actually works in New World. So it's a bit of a bummer. I can still talk about it in theory. I can make teams for you guys on the Treasure Map Planner website and then just talk you through it. But then I need to make sure that these teams are going to be working 100% because obviously you can't show it to you guys myself. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure to grind up to 60 mil. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. And I'm out.